All right, so it is time for a weekly reading wrap up. Just imagine it says reading somewhere in there. Hey everyone, it is Shannon, and I'm here today to do my weekly reading wrap up. I've switched to the schedule of doing wrap ups on Sundays and TBRs on Mondays. I am going to stick to that for the rest of the month, but I think in July I'm going to go back to doing something more like Friday reads. It just works better with my schedule in terms of filming, and yeah, but I'm going to stick with this for the month because I said I was going to do it. I've already scheduled everything, so we're gonna roll with it and then roll again and then just shift and adjust as we go because apparently that is a skill that I'm working on flexing. So I'm going to share a little bit about some of the books that I finished this week and then some of the books I started, but I'll leave most of the carryover and then what I'm going to be starting new to my TBR video. So what did I finish? One of the finishes I had this week was The Cracked Spine by Paige Shelton. This is a cozy mystery and it's the first in the Scottish Bookshop mystery series, and it's actually a longer series than I thought. For some reason, at some point, I thought it was a trilogy, but it's actually 7 books plus 1 supplemental work. And I think the 7th might be coming out next year. I can't remember if it's an ongoing series. Don't quote me on that. So anyway, I read this for the Who Picked This Book book club, and run by Nicole and JenJen. The live show was earlier this week, and Erin guest starred on it, and it was a lot of fun. I had so much fun going to the live show. I was actually having a not the best day, so it was actually really, really nice to just kick back and just relax and joke around and stuff. And as per usual, not so much talking about the book happened, but still. And actually, for me, I really enjoyed this book a lot. I think it might actually be my favorite cozy that I've read. Not that I have read a lot, although I did really like the Kitty Couture series a lot. But this one, I like the setting. I like the forthrightness of the protagonist. Although I do still find the whole like cozy thing where like the person is like the sort of amateur investigator or just goes around talking to people and wants to know the truth of things a little strange, like beyond curiosity. Like for this one, I thought she was trying to, because follows an American woman who moves to Scotland to take a job as to work in a bookstore, and then something happens and her boss is like the person who hired her is kind of involved, and so I thought she was kind of like being investigating because she had like an investment in her job or her boss or wanted to do something there. But then as the story went on, it was just kind of like she kind of felt like she just like wanted to know, which I find a little hard to make that jump in terms of things, but I think because it's a cozy, you have to make that jump because that's the format. So anyway, I enjoyed her as a character. I like the setting. I like the cast of characters. I like that the cast of characters had a variety of ages to them, and that and I liked what else did I like? I just liked it overall. I just really liked it overall. The only thing that kind of there's a mild paranormal element to it that I hope will come out a little bit more as the series progresses. And there was the only thing I would say is there was some talk of like one part of town being sort of like the bad part of town, and often I feel like that like urban settings get that, and I felt like it was a bit repetitive, and that as someone who lives in the city, I get a little tired of that sort of that cities are like this, and it's just like, no, just like every city has its own like personality to it, but I just feel like it's just a very easy way to say like these people are bad or this person is bad or don't trust that person. I feel like that's a really not a very nice shortcut in terms of judging people, and so I don't appreciate that. But generally speaking, I enjoyed the book, and I do plan on continuing the series at some point. I have no idea when, but yeah, I definitely would like to read more. So yeah, so that was a lot of fun, and so that is one book that I finished. I didn't finish much. I also finished Calling All Creeps by R.L. Stine. This is one of the Goosebumps books. I think it is which one is it? Number 50. Wow, number 50. So throughout the summer, I'm hoping to fill in some blank spots in my Goosebumps reading, because I've been reading the series over the years, and there's some that are only at the physical library. So for my current library trip, I got out 3 books, and I'm trying to read one a week, and I successfully read one Goosebumps book 2 weeks in a row, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. So this one follows a kid. This one actually was a bit tough because he This one I thought, had a fair amount of bullying in it, and I wonder if it was written now, if it would be just approached a little bit differently. It did play into the story, but I thought it was, for me, I found it upsetting to read. Like, there's a group of kids that really don't like the protagonist. They do things to, like, make him trip and fall. One of them, like, holds him down. They follow him. They yell at him. I'm just like, I just don't want, like, I just not. And that's not even, like, really the story. So that's really hard, but it does sort of isolate the character, and this one does have the theme of vengeance, if you can believe it. And it's not even about those kids. So that was a bit challenging in terms of the setup. When it gets to the whole calling all creeps part of it, which isn't till about halfway through, then I thought it was a pretty funny turn. It was a pretty amusing. I wasn't expecting it. I was curious to see where it was go next. I was looking for possible, like, explanations. It was a bit out there, and you can probably tell from the cover sort of like how out there it is. So yeah, but it was even in the second half, it was a little bit repetitive. Now I know these are kids' books, so I shouldn't expect too much from them, but you know, it was entertaining when it got entertaining, but I thought it was challenging to be in that setup of you know, like, I really felt like what we were seeing was him being bullied. And in the Goosebumps books, I do find there's a lot of heightened, you know, like I think last week I talked about how sometimes they have siblings that are really, really aggressive towards each other, and this one didn't have that. I don't think he had any siblings. I don't remember. I don't think so. I think it was just him and his parents, and yeah, and he sort of starts to befriend a new person at school, but then there's this group of kids that are really not nice to him. So anyway, and this, yeah. So anyways, it's a bit, you know, I'm not like, how much do I expect from these, you know, but it does make me wonder if it was written, because this is from the 90s, I imagine. I think these are generally from the 90s. 96, you know, like, if it was written now, would it have a different approach? I'm not sure. They're also like thriller horror, so you're gonna have heightened stuff. So anyway, so I liked last week's book better, which was Attack of the Mutants. So if we're gonna play the comparison game. So what did I start? So one of the big starts, of course, was our Shah and the Tree of Wishes. This is the third in the Pandava series by Roshani. I am buddy reading this with Izzy and Kay Kelly, and the live show is at the end of the month. It's the last Tuesday. I'll leave it in the description box below. I am enjoying this one. I am not that far through. Oh, actually, I'm about halfway through. I'm giving myself more time to read these, and that is really, really working for me. So I'm working at reading 5 chapters a day, 5 out of 7 days a week, and that is nice, because I don't even want to have to read it every day. If I need to take a day off, and this week I did need to take one of the days off because it was a bit of a challenging week, so that ended up working out. So more lead time and not having to have it be every day, both were helpful. I'm enjoying the story. I'm trying to figure out if I'm enjoying it, how much I'm enjoying it in comparison to the other ones. I'm not quite sure yet. I think the second one I still like the best, but I still like this one a fair amount. It's a urban fantasy based on what is the right way, Hindu mythology and folklore, and really liking it. I really like the characters. It's tough, again, because it's middle grade. It's like, it's a little predictable, but it's, you know, I'm an adult reading middle grade, so I don't think that's a fair, like, criticism. I'm enjoying it. I read these for enjoyment because I love buddy reading, so, like, you know, it's a win on both those fronts. So yeah, so, and I also think it's well written. I like the characters, and I love the description of the characters and the people that they encounter, and the urban fantasy magic elements that come up. All of that is really good. So looking forward to seeing where this one goes, and yeah, so I will be continuing that through next week. I did also start Bound by Hand by Erica Ekram, over 20 beautifully crafted journals. This I got from the library. I'm still in the beginning stage, so I actually just read about the different bookbinding techniques, which is what the front is all about, all sort of like how-to and stuff. And then as it comes into later parts of the book, it actually has like, actually, I'm not sure. It says the art of repetition. I think it has specific journals that it shares. Right, so that journal, and then how to make that journal. Although that last section, hand-lettered title page. So it's got some how-tos as well. So I've just read this sort of intro, which most of which I was already familiar to me because I have done bookbinding before. But I did learn about some different stitches, and I just always use pamphlet stitch. So, but that reminded me that there are other stitches to try out there, especially if you're doing multiple signatures, which is like the foldovers of anything that has signatures. Like, so this has, you can see it has multiple, like all the smiles, right? All the round, each of those are a signature. So generally when I make a book, I just do one signature. But if you use more than one signature, then there are different techniques. But if it's one signature, I just use pamphlet stitch. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to getting into that a little bit more and to seeing some of the different, the other stitching styles, and then also, of course, the particular journals and what else the book has to offer. I'm looking forward to it. I am really, really surprised to say I started, but I didn't finish Volume 9 of Battle Angel Alita. Like, seriously? One volume of manga. I've been reading it for 4 days. I have like one chapter left. I think I have half a chapter left. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So this is the last book in the Battle Angel Alita manga series. This is Story and Arpa Yukido Kashiro. And I am enjoying it. I'm really excited to finish this off, see where the story will fall at the end. And and I'm reading this for Translateathon. It is obviously translated from the Japanese. So yeah, it's a cyberpunk series from the 90s. And and the art is quite different from, it can be quite gross and mechanical and quite creepy, especially some of the faces, but it's really interesting, and so I'm looking forward to finishing that off. I also I'm still working on, but didn't finish, Escher on Escher, Exploring the Infinite, also reading this from Translateathon. This is translated from the Dutch by, I think it's Karen Ford. MC Escher was a graphic artist, and so this is some of his letters and lectures on the artwork that he did, his philosophy, and I'm really enjoying it. It's just, he's got such interesting work. Lots of interesting transitional stuff. And there's a lot more thought behind it than, like for me, often when I look at it, I marvel at the technical aspects, like the merging of the technical aspects and the artistic aspects of it, of especially the positive negative reversal type stuff. But then also these sort of like labyrinth-like situations of impossible scenarios where this one is a good one. I actually don't think this one is him, actually. I think that one's someone else. I can't remember. But there's a lot of thought behind it, like lots of thought behind it. So it was really interesting to hear that from his perspective. So yeah, and that's really, honestly, is there anything else I wanted to share? I'm also continuing to read Eagle of the Ninth and Elephant of Hollywood. These are all due back on next week, so I think I can finish Eagle of the Ninth, but I think I'm going to hope to renew a fair amount of books. So yeah, did not get tons of reading done, did not get tons of finishes in. I've been a bit distracted, and I think I'm also still feeling the change of pace after doing the May Reading Challenge, which was so focused. So I'm trying to let myself like do other things, and so that means I'm reading a little bit less. I am committed to my social reading of, like my buddy reading of Shah, and I was also committed to finishing The Cracked Spine, but I'm participating in Translateathon. These are both for Translateathon, and but I'm just being a little lighter on things after having such an intense focused reading period, and I think that that's been helpful. So I'm going to not worry about that. I know that my library books are due next week, so I know I am going to push towards that, so maybe the middle week is a good one to be a little lighter with things. So yeah, so that's how things have gone so far, and I will be back tomorrow with my TBR for the upcoming week. So there you go. Thank you so much for watching.